everyone. Today I have decided to read the Sigalovada Sutta, a discourse that the World Buddhist Dhammadutta organization have decided to do this worldwide Tipitaka chanting. So today, venerable monks from the UK, different temples, have decided and attended and participated on this occasion of Tipitaka chanting. So tomorrow will be in America. So on this occasion, that's why I thought that I will read the Sigalovada Sutta and will explain where necessary. So this Sigalovada Sutta is one of the discourses that comes in the Digha Nikaya, the first book of Sutta Tipitaka from the Tipitaka. And this Digha Nikaya was translated by Maurice Wells from Wales, and he was a good Buddhist and was a good friend of Venerable Sumedho and Wat Amaravati. So this book, that's why there is a preface from a forward from Sumedho, Ajahn Sumedho. So this is a book that Ajahn Sumedho requested Maurice to translate. So after a tireless work, he managed to complete this translation and published. So on this Digha Nikaya, it is divided into 3 chapters, and the Sigalovada Sutta or Sigalaka Sutta comes on the 3rd chapter or 3rd division, Sutta number 31. So the Sigalaka Sutta is actually one of the very important discourse for the lay Buddhists. And apparently it appears that this was the first discourse that translated into English in 1870s, so almost 200 years now, and widely distributed as the a Buddhist practice, and suggested that these are the principles that all the Buddhists normally practice. And that was the introduction given to the West in a very first time. So Sigalovada Sutta actually divided into 3 different sections. One is about the living a moral life, and a second is how to maintain and manage wealth, and a third is social duties. So in a short term, it is like a personal, individual duties to duties, as well as the second, social duties. In terms of the more individuals' duties or personal duties, first is to practice morality, and the second is to practice how to manage the wealth, and the different ways of managing that wealth, including how to earn the wealth and how to protect the wealth and how to manage the wealth and how one loses the wealth. So that also clearly outlined by the Buddha. So this is in a way one of the very important discourse for the lay Buddhists. So that's why it is also known as the advice to the lay Buddhists. Although it appears that it is for the Buddhists, but when we look at the principles, it appears that this is actually the fundamental principles for the cultivating the harmonious community, because it gives you reciprocal responsibility between one and another, and also suggests that we are all interconnected. We are not separated like a cosmos. The entire cosmos, each and individual stars and in the Milky Ways are supported by one another. From the tiny one item is supporting other items to circulate or to maintain and manage. Similarly, in our society, if we want to have a harmonious community without any disruptions and destructions that we are facing now, it will be a peace, and it can be eradicated if everyone is performing their respective duties. So that's why this is the discourse. Now let me read the discourse. Thus have I heard. Once the Lord was staying in Rajagaha at the squirrel's feeding place in the bamboo grove, and at that time Sigalaka, the householder's son, having got up early and gone out of Rajagaha, was paying homage with wet clothes and hair and with joined palms to the different directions, to the east, the south, the west, the north, the nadir and the janet. So this first chapter, basically the first passage, basically telling us that the Sigalaka was one of the householder, wealthy one. His parents were Buddhists, and his parents were trying to take him to the temple so that he would learn the Dhamma. But unfortunately, he was a spoiled child, a rich boy. He was not happy to kneel down and pay respect, and he wasn't happy to stay in one side and listening the discourses. Having seen the stubbornness of this Sigalaka, his parents decided that when the day they in a near death bed at that time, then Sigalaka, his father, told him to do after he's gone, and go and pay respect to the 6 directions with a wet hair and a wet clothes. A pure intention was that one day the Buddha will be able to summon him and teach him. With that, he will be also liberate himself. At least he will become a Buddhist. With that intention, when the Sigala's father was about to die, he instructed him to do this. Out of a faith and a confidence, and as the last wish of the father, Sigalaka continued practicing as his father requested every single day. So early morning he will wake up and go down to the river, have a bath in the river, and still the hair and the clothes are wet. He would pay respect to all these 6 directions. And it is said that that was his pure, utter faith, and also hoping that his father would get what he wished from him. That's why he was continued doing. Now, further on, and the Lord, having risen early and dressed, took his robe and a bowl and went to Rajagaha for alms. And having seen Sigalaka paying respect, paying homage to the different direction, he asked the reason why he was doing so. And he explains that why he did. And he said, "My Lord, my father, when he was dying, told me to do so. And so, Lord, out of a respect for my father's words, which I revere, honor, and hold sacred. I have got up this early morning to pay homage in this way to the sixth direction. So he is simply confirming to the Buddha, as the Buddha asked what was the reason behind. And then the Buddha further said that, but householder's son, this is not the right way to pay homage to the six directions, according to the Aryan discipline. And the Buddha simply explains the Sigalovada by saying that, in which again Buddha knew that the Sigalovada was a Buddhist by name because his parents were Buddhists. So with that, he was confident to tell the Sigalovada that in the Aryan discipline, which means in Buddhism, this is not how one will pay respect in six directions. And obviously Sigalovada was aware of the Buddha and know about the Buddha. Having heard what the Buddha said, that this is how one should be paying respect in the six directions, then Sigalovada asks, well, Lord, then, how should one pay homage to the six directions according to the Aryan discipline? It would be good if the blessed Lord were to teach me the proper way to pay homage to the six directions. So after the Sigalovada asked the Buddha, then Buddha said, then listen carefully, pay attention, and I will speak. So this is how the discussion begins. Young householder, it is by abandoning the four defilements of action, by not doing evil from the four causes, by not following the six ways of wasting one's substance, through avoiding these 14 evil ways, that the Aryan disciple covers the six directions, and by which practice becomes a conqueror of both worlds, so that all will go well with him in this world and the next. And at the breaking up of the body after death, he will go to a good destiny, a heavenly world. So here Buddha basically give a summary or abstract of entire his teachings, saying that in order to pay respect to these four directions, first of all, you've got to be morally fit. So practice morality and keeping yourself in the right position. So first of all, Buddha is simply saying that avoiding or abandoning the four defilements of actions, and then not doing evil from the four causes, by not following the six ways of wasting money or wealth, and through avoiding these 14 evils, only then one will be able to pay respect to the sixth direction properly. Otherwise, will not be the right way of paying respect to the six directions. It will be corrupted. And further on, Buddha also said that once these are fulfilled, they will be happy in this world, bringing a harmonious community, and as well as will be happy in the next life to come, even to attain in the heavenly world. Now further now, this will be the explanation of these abstract that the Buddha laid down. Now Buddha further said, what are the four defilements of action that are abandoned? And that is, taking a life is one, taking what is not given is one, sexual misconduct is one, lying speech is one. So these are the four defilements of action that he abandons. Thus the Lord spoke, and a well-farer having spoken, the teachers added, taking life and stealing, lying, adultery, the wise reproof. So here basically Buddha is saying that one has to observe at least of four precepts, starting from not killing, not stealing, not lying, and not adultery or sexual misconduct, which wise one reproves. So that is the 4 defilements that one has to abandon. And then, what are the 4 causes of evil from which he refrains? Evil action springs from attachment. It springs from ill will. It springs from folly. It springs from fear. If the Aryan disciple does not act out of attachment, ill will, folly, or fear, he will not do evil from any one of the 4 causes. Thus the Lord spoke, and the wayfarer, having spoken, the teacher added, desire and hatred, fear and folly, he who breaks the law through these loses all his fair repute, like the moon at the waning time. So here Buddha simply tried to lie down the causes that one normally commits. One with the fear, one with the attachment, which is in Pali called chantakati. Out of affection and attachment to one person or another, whenever somebody does something, then there will be a biasness. So avoiding any biases through the attachment or a lust or being a pleasure, being a pleasant one. Or the second one is out of ill will. It's called a dosa kati, ill will, or animosity or resentment. Based on that, people normally make decisions and speak against someone, and that also known as the cause of the evil that normally people commit, and one has to refrain from that. And the third one is the folly or the ignorance, mohakati, ignorance. Out of the ignorance, one can make a decision which is again can be a cause of a bias and cause of evil action. And then the fourth one is a payakati, which is a fear. So spring from the fear or act out of a fear, and that also causes the wrong decision. So that's basically Buddha is saying that one has to free from there. So desire and hatred, fear and folly, he who never yields to these grows in a goodness and a repute, like the moon at a waxing time. So Buddha is giving a simile like a moon that, which is not covered by the cloud. So it's a complete full moon. And what are the 6 ways of wasting one's substance that he does not follow? So there are now Buddha moving from the moral life towards the wealth management. And here, first of all, Buddha is saying that what are the ways that the people normally lose their wealth? And there are 6 ways. So addiction to strong drink and a sloth producing drugs is one way of wasting one's substance. Hunting the streets at unfitting time is one. Attending fairs is one. Being addicted to gambling is one. Keeping bad company is one. Habitual idleness is one. So these are the 6 ways that the people normally lose their wealth. So one is drinking, another one is drinking. So the first one is drinking and sluggish in the sloth-produced drugs. And then the second one is wandering in the unfitting time. So Mr. Morris says hunting, quite interesting word he is saying here. And then attending fairs in one, attending fairs. And then the second, third and fourth one is gambling. The fifth one is having a wrong company. And the 6th one is habitual idleness. There are these 6 dangers attached to addiction to strong drinks and sloth-producing drugs. So again, the reason behind someone who is drinking has got these 6 dangers that one may have to face. That is present waste of money, so you're wasting money in the present time. Increase quarreling, so that also causes a quarreling. Liability to the sickness, so easy to be get sick. And then a loss of a good name, so people will be gossiping about you as being a drunk. Indecent exposure of one's person. And here indecent exposure of one's person basically means putting oneself in a danger. And then weakening of the intellect, so lack of a wisdom. These are the 6 dangers. And further, there are 6 dangers attached to haunting the street of unfitting time. And now here again, wandering in the unfitting or wrong time has got the 6 dangers that the Buddha outlines. One is defenseless and without protection, and so are one's wife and children, and so is one's property. One is suspected of crimes, and false reports are pinned on him, and one encounters all sorts of unpleasantness. So basically the danger for oneself, for the property, for the children, and also liable of any crimes and also unpleasant experiences. There are 6 dangers attached to frequenting fairs. So this is normally thinking of attending. So this is normally of thinking to going to the cinemas or movies or partying like that. So maybe normally we'll be thinking that where is the dancers, where is the dancing, where is the singers, where is the singing, where are they playing musics, where are they reciting or singing, where is these hand clapping, where are the drums, and so on. So that person's mind will be continuously indulged with these sort of thoughts in their minds. There are these 6 dangers. There are these 6 dangers attached to gambling. So this is again the danger of someone who is gambling. Sometimes people also ask that whether gambling is wrong or not, whether that comes under the precepts or not. Yes, it doesn't come under the precepts, but it comes under the wealth management of yourself, and that can cause other troubles follow. Here Buddha outlined 6 dangers, and that is: the winner makes enemies, the loser bewails his loss, one wastes one's present wealth, one's word is not trusted in the assembly, one is despised by one's friends and companies, one is not in demand for marriage, because a gambler cannot afford to maintain a wife. So this is the instruction for the gamblers to avoid. It is one of the hard one to practice for many people, in particular in the West. There are these 6 dangers attached to keeping bad company. Any gambler, any glutton, any drunkards, any cheat, any trickers, any bully is his friend, his companions. There are these 6 dangers attached to idleness. Thinking it is too cold, one does not work. Thinking it is too hot, one does not work. Thinking it's too easy, too early, one does not work. Thinking it's too late, one does not work. Thinking it's too hungry, one does not work. Thinking I am too full, one does not work. Thus the Lord spoke. So this is the idleness, basically trying to find ways to excuse from working, which often people face it a lot. So the Buddha categorized into 6. So one is, it's too cold, it's too hot, it's too early, it's too late, I am too hungry and I am too full. So with that, people normally make an excuse not to work. And here Buddha is simply teaching, saying that one has to overcome from that. And the wayfarers, having spoken, the teacher added, some are drinking mates, and some profess their friendship to your face, but those who are your friend in need, they alone are friends indeed. Sleeping late, adultery, picking quarrels, doing harm, evil friends, and stinginess, these 6 things destroy a man. He who goes with wicked friends and spends his time in wicked deeds in this world and the next as well, that man will come to suffer woe. Dicing, wrenching, drinking too, dancing, singing, daylight sleep, untimely prowling, evil friends, and stinginess destroy a man. He plays with the dice and drinks strong drink, and goes with others' well-loved wives. He takes the lower, baser course, and fades away like a waning moon. The drunkard broke and destitute, ever thirsting as he drinks, like stone in water sinks in death, soon bereaved of all his skin. He who spends his days in sleep and makes the night his waking time, ever drunk and lecherous, cannot keep a decent home. Too cold, too hot, too late, they cry, thus pushing all their work aside, till every chance they might have had of doing good has slipped away. But he who reckons cold and heat as less than straws, and like a man undertakes the task in hand, his joy will never grow the less. So this is the gathas that the Buddha is simply summarizing, saying that drinking is no good and it has consequences. And then wandering around in the nights has consequences, not welcoming, and then frequently going around into the dancing and fairs, also not good. Gambling normally loses the wealth and also fame, and idleness or being lazy is one of the things that any job or any good opportunity will slip away, which Buddha encourages not to let it happen in that way, but to practice. Householder's son, there are these 4 types who can be seen as foes in a friendly goose. The man who is all take is one, the great talker is one, the flatterer is one, and the fellow spendthrift is one. So 4 types of wrong friends, Buddha is saying. Buddha is telling us not to associate with them. The man who is all take can be seen to be a false friend for 4 reasons. So there are friends only taking from you. Those are not a real friend. So the reason behind this, Buddha saying, he takes everything. He wants a lot for very little. What he must do, he does out of a fear, and he seeks his own ends. So he's a more selfish friend. So he will take anything that he wanted to, and then he gives little but takes a lot. And then he does only simply out of a fear, and normally he only seeks his own benefit. So that person is known as the only one who takes. The great talker can be seen in also a false friend in 4 reasons. So there are people who can give lots of promises but does nothing, and that can be regarded as a false friend. And it's because there are 4 reasons to take it as a false friend. He talks of favors in the past and in the future. He mouths empty phrases of a goodwill, and when something needs to be done in the present, he pledges inability owing to some disaster. So number 1 is that he will be talking about favors that he had done in the past, that I have done this to you, and why not, something like that. And then also favor of in the future, so I will do this, I will do that for you in the future, and is giving false promises, and will take a pledge to do this and do that, but the moment when it comes to do it, he will always say unable to do it. So flatterers can be seen to be a false friend for 4 reasons. He ascends to bad action, he descends from a good action, he praises you to your face, and he disparages you behind your back. So flatterer normally has a false friend because of these 4 reasons. The fellow spendthrift can be seen to be a false friend for 4 reasons. 1. He is a companion when you indulge in strong drink, when you hunt the streets at unfitting times, when you frequent fairs, and when you indulge in gambling. Thus the Lord said. And the welfare having spoken, the teacher aided, the friend who seeks what he can get, the friend who talks but empty words, the friend who merely flatters you, the friend who is a yellow wastrel. These 4 are really foes, not a friends, and the wise man, recognizing this, should hold himself aloof from them, as from some path of a panic fear. So Buddha simply instructing to tell us that whenever we met one of these friends, and if you are associating with one of them, better run away, saying panic fear. So do not stay even for a few moments, run away from there. Householder's son. There are these 4 types who can be seen to be loyal friends. The friend who is a helper is 1. The friend who is the same in happy and unhappy times. The friend who points out what is good for you. The friend who is sympathetic. The helpful friend can be seen to be a loyal friend in 4 ways. He looks after you when you are inattentive. He looks after your possessions when you are inattentive. He is a refuge when you are afraid. And when some business is to be done, he lets you have twice what you ask for. The friend who is the same in happy and unhappy times can be seen to be a loyal friend in 4 ways. He tells you his secrets. He guards your secrets. He does not let you down in misfortune. He would even sacrifice his life for you. The friend who points out what is good for you can be seen to be a loyal friend in 4 ways. He keeps you from wrongdoing. He supports you in doing good. He informs you of what you did not know, and he points out the path to heaven. The sympathetic friend can be seen to be a loyal friend in 4 ways. He does not rejoice at your misfortune. He rejoices at your good fortune. He stops others who speak against you, and he commands others who speak in praise of you. Thus the Lord spoke. And how householder's son does the Arya disciple protect the 6th direction? These 6 things are to be regarded as the 6 directions. The east denotes father and mother, the south denotes teachers, the west denotes wife and children, the north denotes friends and companions, the nadir denotes servants, workers and helpers, the Janath denotes ascetics and Brahmins. So after here now moving towards the social responsibilities, so far Buddha was talking about establishing oneself in a moral standard and then ability to maintain wealth and also relationship with the friends and who is good and who is not a good friend. Now from there giving the social responsibilities towards the 6 directions. There are 5 ways in which a son should minister to his mother and father as this eastern direction. Having been supported by the parents, I will support them. I will perform their duties for them. I will keep up the family tradition. I will be worthy of my heritage. After my parents' death, I will distribute gifts on their behalf. So these are the 5 ways that one has to fulfill the duties towards the parents. And having fulfilled that duties, parents also have got the duties to repay. That is why it is called reciprocal. And there are 5 ways in which the parents so minister to be their son as the eastern direction will reciprocate. They will restrain him from evil, support him in doing good, teach him some skill, find him a suitable wife, and in due time hand over his inheritance to him. In this way, the eastern direction is covered, making it at peace and free from fear. There are 5 ways in which pupils should minister to their teachers as the southern direction: by raising to greet them, by waiting on them, by being attentive, by serving them, by mastering the skills they teach. And there are 5 ways in which their leaders, which teachers thus minister to by their pupil as the southern direction, will reciprocate. They will give thorough instruction, make sure they have grasped what they should have duly grasped, give them a thorough grounding in all skills, recommend them to their friends and colleagues, and provide them with security in all directions. In this way, the southern direction is covered, making it at peace and free from fear. There are 5 ways in which a husband should minister to his wife as the western direction: by honoring her, by not disparaging her, by not being unfaithful to her, by giving authority to her, by providing her with adornments, and There are 5 ways in which a wife thus ministered to be her husband as the Western direction will reciprocate: by properly organizing her work, by being kind to the servant, by not being unfaithful, by protecting stores, and by being skillful and diligent in all she has to do. In this way, the eastern direction is covered, making it at peace and free from fear. There are 5 ways in which a man should minister to his friends and companions as the northern direction: by gift, by kindly words, by looking after their welfare, by treating them like himself, and by keeping his words. And there are 5 ways in which friends and companions thus ministered to by a man as the northern direction will reciprocate: by looking after him when he is inattentive, by looking after his property when he is inattentive, by being a refuge when he is afraid, by not deserting him when he is in trouble, and by showing concern for his children. There are 5 ways in which a master should minister to his servants and work people as the needier: by arranging their work according to their strength, by supplying them with food and wages, by looking after them when they are ill, by sharing special delicious with them, and by letting them off work at the right time. And there are 5 ways in which servants and work people thus ministered to by their minister as the needier will reciprocate: they will get up before him, go to bed after him, take only what they are given, do their work properly, and be bearer of his praise and a good repute. There are 5 ways in which a man should minister to ascetics and Brahmins as the Janeth: by kindness in a bodily deed, speech and thought, by keeping open house for them, by supplying their bodily needs. And the ascetic and Brahmins thus ministered to by him as the Janeth will reciprocate in 6 ways. They will restrain him from evil, encourage him to do good, be benevolently compassionate towards him, teach him what he has not heard, and point out to him the way to heavens. In this way the zenith is covered, making it at peace and free from fear. Thus the Lord spoke. At these words Singalaka said to the Lord, "Excellent, Reverend Gautama, excellent. It is as if someone were to set up what had been knocked down, or to point out the way to one who had got lost, or to bring an oil lamp into a dark place, so that those with eyes could see what was there. Just so the Reverend Gautama has expounded the Dhamma in various ways. May the Reverend Gautama accept me as a lay follower from this day forth, as long as life shall last." So this is the end of the sutta, and suggests that Singalaka eventually become the follower of Buddhist. And according to the commentary, it suggests that the Singalaka eventually become a stream enterer in Buddhism. So this Singalaka Sutta is one of the important discourse that if everyone follow this advice, then that brings happiness in their life, and as well as bring happiness and harmonious community for the rest of the world, to have a peaceful and happy community. So thank you, This is the end of the discourse, the Sigalovada Sutta. So now we will practice meditation for a while before we share the merit. Thank you, Kunchu, Tusara.